We got some pretty good news yesterday from Pfizer, the drug company. Let's throw this up there on the screen. They have unveiled that in early data of their vaccine trials show it's more than 90% effective. Now, obviously, that's great news. That's actually higher. Some analysts were expecting 60 to 70% effective. In the early trials, they're saying 90% is absolutely awesome. That means this could be fast track to the vaccine and all of that, right?
Fauci said we could have people receiving the vaccine by the end of the year.
Sign me up, folks.
Phenomenal.
I'm ready. Into the vein. That's the second. We'll get to that later. The real thing here, Krystal, is that of course, because we're not allowed to just have nice things, everybody decides to politicize it immediately. Now, I think the government in this particular case can take some credit. So Mike Pence tweets out, let's throw this up there on the screen. He says, thanks to the public-private partnership forged by President Trump, Pfizer announces coronavirus vaccine trial is effective, preventing infection in 90% of its volunteers. Now, what happens next is incredible. The Pfizer CEO, trying to basically politicize his own vaccine and cozy up to the Joe Biden incoming administration, says that it did not join the administration's partnership and that their head of vaccine development says, we were never part of Operation Warp Speed. We've never taken any money from the U.S. government or anyone. Now, Krystal, the reason I wanted to cover this is because Pfizer basically got the entire mainstream media yesterday to repeat big pharma talking points, basically in order to own Trump. Because here's actually what happened. Pfizer received, yes, they did not receive development money, but they have a guarantee by the U.S. government to purchase $2 billion, which, might help their bottom line.
Kind of a big incentive.
Kind of a little bit of incentive. Oh, and also Operation Warp Speed greenlit all of their R&D regulatory environment. So basically, this is the story of a public-private partnership. And it's amazing to me because basically what happened here is the media immediately latched on to a pharma talking point, which we know so well here, which is that they create these drugs in the abstract with no government help or incentive. Right. No. Are you kidding me? The German government and the U.S. government are the ones who made this vaccine possible. And that's a good thing. I'm happy about it. But this is just an overall mainstream media just being gaslit into basically repeating big pharma talking points, all just to own Trump. Why can't it just be a good story? Yeah, Pfizer has this cool vaccine, and it was developed with public funds and with public assurances, and all Americans are going to get it for free, and that's a goddamn good thing. Can we just leave it at that?
We just leave it there. Well, the thing I like about this story, and I do kind of enjoy this story, is in service of their partisan cheerleading, everybody got played. So the conservatives who would normally be the ones that are first pharma, they just go out there and brave risk takers, creating life-saving medications for us all out of the goodness of their heart. They're the ones who are like, the government did it. Yay, government. Great job, government, in helping big pharma. And then the liberals, in their desire to own Trump, are like, pharma, they did this all on their own. The government had nothing to do with it, right? So that's what I enjoy about the story, is everybody ends up looking completely silly and stupid. Just some bigger context here. Not only does Pfizer have an incentive in downplaying the government role because they want to be part of the anti-Trump narrative, it's actually much bigger than that, because the truth is, if the public really digested how much pharma's profits rely almost exclusively on public funding and research,
R&D,
then we'd have a very different relationship with them, with their level of profits, with the length and scope of their patents. So I just looked up right before this segment something that we've talked about here before. Between 2010 and 2016, there were 210 new drugs developed with new molecules. Every single one of those relied to a certain extent on public research. Every one of them. So the reality is, not just with this vaccine, but in almost every single instance, the truly new innovation within the pharmaceutical industry does not come from pharma. It starts with tax dollars and government public research, funded research. Something tells me that a lot of conservatives don't really want to admit that particular piece. And something tells me, right now, liberals, because it undermines their anti-Trump narrative, also don't want to talk about that.
This is a great win for the United States government and for the United States. I don't know why we can't just accept that, which is that, yes, pharma had all these incentives, and there's this regulatory environment which is very beneficial to them. The government's going to buy those vaccine doses, and then they're going to distribute it to all of us. I think that's a great win for industrial policy, for the future of how we can develop public-private partnership. This is exactly how science was developed by the U.S. government all throughout the 1940s, 1950s, and 1960s. We have to accept this. If you're on the right, these are good things. This has produced an empirical good for America. But something tells me they're all going to forget at the moment it's something that's not the coronavirus vaccine. And then the liberals are going to go back to undermining their own talking points by talking about this. How about we just be consistent? This is a great thing, and I hope to see more of it.
Absolutely. More rising for you after this.